What's going on, everybody? Jay, Brad, gentlemen, how are
Brian,
we?
Jay,
Brad, Brian, Jay. Wait,
yeah, you're Jay. You're Jay. We forgot to put your name tag on you tonight.
It's weird because I just keep thinking that thing with the antlers is me. So
yeah, last week this was you. We introduced you as Jay.
I did see that. I did see that.
You had an excellent episode. It was amazing.
You had a lot of input last week, Jay. I'm just saying.
Yeah, probably more than usual.
Good Jay. Good Jay. Good Jay.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, we got a great show lined up this evening. We got Ben Stern from Tactacam. If you guys haven't heard of Tactacam, it's an action sports camera. I believe I'm saying that correctly. We're going to chat with him this evening, drill him with all kinds of questions. If you all could go in that lower left-hand corner and share this up. If you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, just click that share button, share it up. Let's get some folks in here. If you guys have any questions or comments throughout the broadcast, feel free to type them in, and we'll get those questions answered. Let's get our man Ben in here.
How's it going, guys?
Welcome, brother.
What's up?
Mr. Ben?
How you doing tonight, man?
Well, you know, it's been a rough one sitting down here in the basement, you know, trying to wait out the COVID thing. Not really. I've been everywhere. I go to work every day, you know.
I hear you, man.
Keeping it real. Being cautious, but keeping it real.
I hear you, brother. Well, we'd like to thank you for taking the time out this evening and joining us, man, and educating some folks on the wonderful Tacticam, man. So we always like to get a background from all these companies, you know, as we bring them on and chat with them. And so maybe you could give us a little background on like how Tacticam started, where they're based out of, and all that good stuff.
Sure. So I guess I'll try to keep this short and sweet, but I guess it started 6 years ago or so. And I mean, you could even go back 7 years, to be honest with you, because, you know, it wasn't a planned thing. It's not like you sit down at a table and say, we're going to start a company and it's going to be called Tacticam. And, you know, we're going to just build stuff and grow and it's going to be fun and people are going to like it. And, you know, we're going to make some money. No, that's not how it starts. It truly started with an idea of, actually, it's not even an idea. It was truly, I was out hunting, right? Whitetails in Wisconsin. My grandpa's farm, loves hunting, right? He, you know, big influence in my life. And he was getting to the age where he just couldn't get out there anymore. He couldn't, you know, go out and experience this stuff. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to start filming this. And just a little bit of my background. I went to school for way too long, and studied photography, studied videography, and just had a really good background in that, right? So I thought this is going to be easy. And all of a sudden I realized it's not easy. And there was a lot of issues with, trying to do this. So that's when I started building this camera. First it was a lens. Then it was, how do I make the board smaller? How do I make it easier to use? How do I program it? And a lot of this stuff, I'm not going to lie to you, I didn't know how to do it, but I just started talking to people and meeting people and getting information and like figuring it out. And there you go. The next thing I knew, I was filming my hunts, doing it easily, mounted onto my bow in the stabilizer and showing videos to people. And a guy goes, why don't you sell those? I've been looking for something like that. Then the next guy says, why don't you sell those? I've been looking for something like that. And it's like, well, how much money do you need to build them? And I'm like, well, I don't know, probably like this. And that's how it got started. It was like, okay, bam. Now all of a sudden we're building a product. Well, it's like, what are you going to call it? Driving around in my Chevy Cavalier in Trempealeau County, Wisconsin, with my good buddy, talking about, what would you call this camera? Like, what should it be called? And it was like tactical, whatever. And it was like Tactacam. It was like, it just happened, so that's how Tacticam got started. And to be honest, it was very, very small at the beginning, just like any company. And we focused on bow hunting. That was the very first thing. And then from bow hunting, we went into gun hunting, and we kept growing, and eventually we got into like the FTS, film through scope. And then all of a sudden we're like, what? There's other things we can do. Like, we all enjoy fishing, for example. It's like, we love fishing, but yet it was just like, has anybody really focused on fishing, period? Like, let's not take a Tactacam like 5.0, for example. How do you take all the technology, all the things that we got really good at throughout the entire process, and how do you specifically build a camera that just does one thing really, really well? And that's what we started to think about, and that's where the fisheye came in. So nice. Yeah, and it I mean, I know we're going to get way into what the fisheye does, but to keep that whole story as short as possible, and if you want to know more, I can gladly talk about it. But for example, I had a guy that helped me get started, right? Well, then that guy wants to move along, so then you have to get other people involved. And I was very, very fortunate. I'm sure you guys have heard of the name Jeff Peel. Jeff Peel is like the guy that bailed me out of basically what would be bankruptcy, because even though we're growing at the beginning, there's still a ton of struggles. And he said, this camera's awesome. Like, this is really cool. Him and his wife, Tara, I was already doing things with them, and they're like, we want to get involved, and, got rid of my first partner. And now it's them. And we have another guy, Ben Thorud, who's involved very heavily. We're all business partners now. And I mean, we're well over, we're pushing 30 employees right now, which is crazy to think. Wow. Because I'm doing this interview in my basement, right? Yeah. It's truly like, this basement used to put cameras together, and used to build cameras, and we would have camera building parties, like where we would just get a 12-pack of Pepsi or whatever your favorite beverage is, and order up some pizzas. And we would, my neighbors would come over. Most of my neighbors have moved away now, because they're like, we got to get out of here. We've got a part-time job, just joking. Yeah. But, everybody, it's truly like a community, right? Like, everybody got involved, and it was just, everybody had the same passion that I did. It was like, this is really cool, and we want to see this work. So we would build cameras in my basement, in my garage. Then we got too big for my basement, and we had to go to Jeff's garage and my garage, and literally we just kept growing to the point where it's like, you know what, we really need to get a place. And we rented a place in Caledonia, Minnesota, which is where we're
nice.
located now. Yeah. So we rented, a small little room basically, but it was bigger than our garages, and it put us in one spot. So we actually had a garage attached to it because it was kind of like a house we rented. And Jeff moved from Chicago area. He was just north of Chicago, moved from there down to Decorah, Iowa. I live in Holman, Wisconsin. Ben Thorud lives in Holman, Wisconsin. So Caledonia was smack dab in the middle. So there you go. That's how we got to Caledonia. And then all of a sudden it was like a year later and we're like, geez, we're really outgrowing this little apartment with a garage. It's time to get something a little bit bigger. And we ended up buying like an old Quick Trip building, which if you don't know what Quick Trip is, for any of the listeners, it would be like a gas station, right? So we bought this not old, it was actually really nice, this gas station with all the gas stuff removed. It was literally just a gutted building. Bought that, fixed it up into some offices, and then built like a pretty good sized pole barn type style building onto that. And that's what we were doing all of our manufacturing in, our assembling in, and then we would have our offices connected and our customer service and our shipping. And that was all in one space. And then it was, like 2 years later or a year and a half later, we're like, man, we're starting to outgrow this.
Yeah.
So you kind of see the progression there. It was just like, it's a lot of passion, just a lot of passion, a lot of people involved. It's truly not me. Like this is just something that, somebody, there's always got to be someone with an idea and someone that moves the idea along.
Sure.
But very, very early on, there was a lot of people that got involved that kept that idea moving, if that makes sense.
That's
so
cool.
it's just been, I mean, I could talk for an entire hour about all the people that have been along this ride, including you guys, right? Like it's a tremendous thing, and I'm very, very honored to be a part of it.
Yeah, man. Well, that's super cool, man. It's interesting. I didn't know the whole backstory, so it's cool. I love those stories starting out in the basement or the garage and then progressively growing and growing and growing, no matter what the business is. It's just super cool to see that come to fruition, and come full circle for you, man. That's super awesome.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, thanks.
Very cool, man. Well, let's jump into the cameras a little bit. I got a little screen share action going on here. Got the cameras up on the screen. I mean, which one do you want to start with? What was like the first camera that you guys came out with?
So the first camera is not up there because we retired it, but
okay,
the Solo Hunter, that camera is very, very closely connected with the very first camera, because the very first camera was one button, and it's how easy can you build a camera? Like,
sure.
I had a giant buck standing in front of me that was probably the biggest buck I've ever seen, and I don't know if it's the biggest buck because I didn't shoot it or I missed it, or if I would have shot it and it would have ground shrinkage, it would have been like a 4-pointer. I'm not sure, because I tried to film it and I wanted to show my grandpa this buck because he told me, he goes, you go over top of this ridge, go down the other side, find a spot. He's like, there's a giant buck living over there. So that's what I did. And I was trying to film it. I scared the deer away, and I'm telling you, it was ginormous. It was the biggest buck I've ever seen in my life. And that was when I sat there and I thought about how should you do this? Like, if you want to hunt, like, how do you pull a bow back? How do you stay still? How do you not move? And I'm like, you got to mount it to the bow. Where's the best spot? Well, I'm like, what if you put it in a stabilizer? What if it was one button, where you just push a button, right? And it just turns on and it records and it does exposure. It does everything automatically, and it's already zoomed and it's pointing exactly where you're aiming your bow. So that's what the Solo Hunter is. the Solo Hunter is it's truly like just the easiest, the first thing that you would, if you're going to be hunting, that's the camera you want, right? Then you jump over to, let's skip the fisheye right now, because the fisheye came from all of these other cameras.
Okay.
So the 5.0 is the top of the line, like hunting camera, 4K. It's got multi-zoom. So if you're hunting something like in a food plot and you know that it's going to be 20 yards, then you might be on just standard. But if you're, maybe gun hunting and you got, something that you're going to be shooting a little further away, then you put it on the zoom mode. And that's the 5.0. And we took it a little step further because there's more than one button. So you have your main button, it's the power button, turns on, it records, it does everything just like the Solo would, other than when you pause the camera. So after you've already started recording, you're like, okay, you know what, I want to change some settings for the situation, pause it, hit the mode button, and you got 3 different options. So you got zoom, you got normal, like without, it's already zoomed, but not as much. And then you got like a slow motion feature. So you can do some cool things with it. And it's fully customizable. So you could set it up however you want for each mode, but it makes it really, really easily to, be in different tree stands or different situations and just real quickly change through the modes to be filming the way that you want to, mainly the zoom and other things typically, but it's very customizable and really easy to use. And then you got the 5.0 wide. The 5.0 wide was what started the fisheye. The 5.0 wide is exactly the same as the 5.0 other than the lens, right? So we went with a really nice, wide, clear, sharp lens. And we were doing all sorts of stuff with it, putting on race cars, side-by-sides, boating, kayaking, like you name it. And every summer, guess what we're doing? We're fishing. And we're out there filming our fishing. And it's like, we're like, man, I'm running out of batteries, or like, this stinks. I missed it because I caught the fish, and then I'm like turning the camera on, and I'm like, I realized I already caught the fish. So now I'm setting the hook again. And then I lost the fish because I was goofing around, so it's like, okay, we're sitting around the table and we're like, let's take a risk. We all love to fish. Like, yeah, we hunt a lot. We hunt all the time as much as we can, but we fish a lot too, and it's like, what are the things that you just don't like about our camera? And it's truly, what do we not like about our camera that we would build into a camera for fishing? So that's where loop record came in, and I'm sure people have heard of loop record or, something like that. We did it different. So we made it so you could customize how much you want to save. And then we turned it into a back saving feature. So you turn it on, you let it record, and you catch a fish. And instead of trying to hit a button, you just catch the fish and do your thing. And then when you're done, you push the button, and it just back saves everything that happened, and it marks the video. So it makes it really, really easy, for you to go back through the hours of video and get those moments, the ones that really matter. So that was the first concept, right? For the fisheye was, how do we make it record the things we want? And that's what we came up with. And I truly think it's amazing. It's a really awesome feature. If anybody has tried it, I'm sure they'll speak highly about it. But, so we've got that. Then you also have your standard video recording, because obviously if you have a video camera, it's like, well, I don't want to do that. I just want to record right now. So same as like the 5.0, pause it, turn it into standard video. Now you just can do interviews, or you can record stuff, whatever you want. It doesn't matter. So you get the idea. The fisheye came from all of these other cameras, and it allowed us, to kind of build something very specific for fishing that I think works. And by the way, the third mode, because we have 3 modes on all our cameras other than the Solo, is time lapse. I love doing time lapse when I'm fishing. I don't know if anybody else is weird like me, but throw it on time lapse, set it on the boat, and just float around, and when I'm done, I've got like a 20 or 30-second video of like the clouds flying by, and just like, it's just such a cool thing, to have. I think that just kind of tells the story of the day, or you're out there relaxing, getting away from the world, whatever it is, or maybe you're just going there, just crushing bass, or maybe it's pike or walleye, whatever it is. It allows you to kind of get that whole thing and kind of collapse it into a video that, let's just be honest, most people would actually watch, right?
Yeah.
They don't. So that's what the third mode does.
That's
I
cool.
get that. I have about a 30-second attention span. Like Instagram's perfect for me.
Squirrel.
Right? Exactly.
Pretty much.
Yep.
So how are the cameras powered?
So for the all of the cameras run off a lithium-ion battery,
Okay.
typically 2 hours to 2.5. The Fisheye does a little bit better because we use some super high-end processors that are very efficient. Battery life is one of the most important things for fishing, in my opinion, because you have heat, you have a long time typically. Like if you're hunting, it happens fast. Like you just want to push a button, turn it on, and you're recording for a minute, if that, and you're done typically. Fishing, you're recording for a very long time, and you also don't really know when that's going to happen. So you get heating issues, you get battery issues, you get a ton of things. And I'm sure if anybody's tried to film fishing in the summer, they realize, a lot of cameras overheat, they power down, the batteries explode, sometimes they start on fire. So we went with very efficient processors that run extremely cool, and they also use very minimal battery power in order to do it, which is why we went with certain, resolutions and certain things to make this camera as efficient as possible. On top of that, we also have a back plug. I can't believe I don't have one here with me. But there's a back plug that plugs into the back of the fisheye, and it allows you to direct power the camera right off of like a fishing, a power pole, or basically
USB port.
a USB port, 12 volt basically. And then, at that point, you're just running the camera the entire time, nonstop. So, so I always blow my mind every time I talk about this, but here's the crazy thing. We have this other thing called a remote, which most people are like, yeah, so what? I run my TV on a remote. Don't blow my mind with this. This is not cool. Like lame, right? But we worked on a technology that it doesn't use like Wi-Fi. You know how you connect with a camera and it uses Wi-Fi, and next thing you know, 10 seconds, minutes went by and you're like, why is my camera dead? It just sucks all the juice. Well, yeah. Thinking about, other usages of remotes, like how do these other remotes work? So we built the same technology sort of, but we changed it quite a bit. We used FM, right? Like a radio. And we can ping our cameras with I'm just going to call them stations. Maybe I'm getting way too technical for everybody, but hey, it's fun. So we basically can ping our cameras. So if you have 5 cameras on your boat, guess what? You got one button hanging around your neck, just like the solo Wi-Fi, right? One button. I push the one button, or maybe it's on my fishing rod, wherever I got it, and all of the cameras sync. And it doesn't matter if they're running like normal or if they're running off the remote, because guess what? They run the same. All they do is they just do their thing, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, that's my radio station. I love 95.7, whatever it is. And it's like, that's my station, bam. And I just recorded that, or I did whatever I was supposed to. And they all do it at the same time. So now you can run, 5 cameras. To be honest with you, you can do a lot more than 5. We advertise 5. mainly because we got to have something to do better marketing later on. So, so I'm telling you, if you want to do 10, you can do 10, right?
That's crazy.
So the secret's out, right? If you want to run 10 cameras, run 10 cameras. And then when everybody's like, whoa, they can do 10 cameras, you'd be like, yeah, I was doing that a year ago, But
it's like no room for your rods, man. It's like
yeah, exactly, right?
knocking into stuff.
Yeah.
We got a question real quick for you, Ben.
Sure.
Gerald's asking, he says, is it possible to get a replacement cap for the remote? I lost mine today through the scupper hole in the river.
The answer is yes. It's actually the same back cap as a normal camera. So I would get like get a Tactacam, normal Tacticam back cap. It'd be black as opposed to the green one like the fisheye. And that will fit right on that remote. So
boom. There you go, Daryl.
Easy question. Come on, keep them coming. That one was too easy. I'm just kidding, Daryl. That's a good question. The question is, did you catch anything, right?
Yeah, that is the question. Daryl, come on, man. Post pics in the chat there, buddy. We're all freezing up here, and Daryl's out, catching 10-pounders in the river. I'm jealous.
I'm looking forward to ice fishing. I love ice fishing for some reason. I don't know why, but I just can't get enough of it.
Well, that's because you're on the backwaters of the Mississippi. How can you
That's true.
That perch? I mean, those jumbo perch out there.
Yeah, it's just so fun. I don't care if I'm catching like 1.5-inch sunfish, like the smallest sunfish in the world. It's just fun. I love it. Like getting out there on the ice and, sitting in a little shack most of the times because I don't know why. It's fun. I don't know. I love it.
Sitting with your favorite beverage, maybe?
Yeah, usually Dr. Pepper. Sure. Pepsi.
Like McGillicuddy's. Wait, what?
yeah. So so crazy. I know it's not a crazy story, but I have this thing I call it the Tactica Shack, right? Obviously Tactacam, it's the Tactica Shack. It started as an ice fishing shanty, right? So built this for ice fishing. And we used it for probably 3 or 4 years, and it just kept evolving. Like it just kept morphing. You guys have seen some crazy ice shanties.
Oh yeah.
This thing had, like secret trap doors that go on the window that when you look at it, it looks like someone's looking out the window, but there was a peephole there. Just weird stuff. Like it was fun. But anyway, we took that way too far. Then it got converted over into a deer shack one year because it was super cold, and it was like, all right, we're going to take the ice shanty and set it up on some stilts. Then we realized how much work it was, and we just left it there. So, and now the Tactica Shack's got like sensors. It tells you where the deer are coming from. I know you guys are gonna be like, that's not hunting. Truly, it is. Maybe, I don't know. We just sit in it for fun. Like it's truly just fun. We sit in there and watch the deer, double pane glass, have a Pepsi, and all of a sudden a light goes off on your left and you're like, oh, there's a light. And you look out the window, you're like, there's a deer. It's just fun. I bring people in there and just hang out. It's so, I don't know. For me, like fishing, fishing for me is like spending time with friends, relaxing, hanging out. You're having a good time. And yeah, maybe you catch some fish and you can flay them up and have a good meal. Like deer hunting is sort of the same. Like I love just hanging out with friends, relaxing. If you get a deer, great. But guess what? If you get a deer every time you go out, there's no deer left half the time. So like for me, I love having people come up, hang out with me during deer hunting, and we just go sit in the shack every once in a while. And if you're really serious, go sit in a tree or go sit in a different shack if you don't want to be sitting with me, because I'm probably not going to shoot a deer. Just going to be honest with you.
So I think I got it. So you sit in a tree stand for about 2 hours, then you get cold and you're hungry, so you go to the Tactica Shack and you grab a I don't know, maybe a shot of Fireball and a cup of chili, and you just never leave? Is that kind of how it works?
Dude, I think he's cooking.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Oh yeah, we cook. We'll cook eggs and stuff. I mean, it's like a little mini house. I mean, you got to remember, it started as an ice shanty, and you know what kind of stuff goes on in ice shanties. So
I got a feeling a lot of guys are going to be interested in ice fishing after hearing this episode.
Oh, for sure. But I mean, it's an ice shanty up on stilts. Like, it even has a bathroom still, except for instead of peeing through the hole into the, like you normally would on the ice, we've got it piped down and then buried into the ground. So we've got a sewer system, plumbed into it. It's pretty cool.
These Wisconsin folks, man, and their deer blinds. I tell you what.
Yeah.
He's got like the deuce box.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a really funny part. So I was trying to get a TV mount in there so we could watch some sports, right? Because I got solar panels in there and batteries, so we can charge laptops. Half the time we got meetings out there, right? It's like, we're working on new projects. Like, let's go to the Tactica Shack. Where else would you want to go to work on a project where you're just sitting there surrounded by nature and you got deer walking by and turkeys and all this stuff? Anyway,
hold on. Surrounded by nature with LED lights, solar panels, a bathroom, sensor.
Yeah. So obviously it's way over the top. Like I said, it's the Tactica Shack, but the whole point is maybe it's not really to go hunting, right? It's to be inspired, right? It's like, what crazy things can you come up with? Like, and then not only is it just totally crazy off the wall, but let's try it.
Yeah.
Let's just try it and see what happens. It's like, yeah, nobody's probably going to want sensors that tell you if a deer's coming from behind you, but it is kind of cool. And it's not like we're ever going to sell them, but yeah. So this year,
that would be good for Jay. He tends to snooze a little bit when he's in the shack,
right? Well, the lights that tell you where the deer are coming from do have an audible click, so it can wake you up if you have your eyes closed.
There you go.
I don't know if that'll work. I might need like light stimulation or maybe something that's like a slight nudge. I don't know. Like a smack, like a squirt bottle. Like,
Yeah. So my son's 8 years old. Yeah, my son's 8 years old, and he loves the Tactica Shack, right? Like, it's the coolest thing in the world. So, he started hunting a couple years ago and youth season. And then this year he's like, I want to hunt in the Tactica Shack this year. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, sounds good. And he's like, but I want mom to sit with me. And I'm like, what? So, but I'm like, I don't get to sit in the Tactica Shack. Anyway, so they were out there sitting, and Leo, he was like, Mom, I want you to shoot the first deer, and she actually shot a really nice 8-pointer this year, like out of the Tactica Shack. I'll be honest with you. We typically don't shoot a lot of deer out of the Tactica Shack. It's just it's more for show than anything, but anyway.
That's cool, man. Well, we got a question from Jeremiah Idell. If I pronounce that wrong, I apologize, my friend. But he's asking what kind of mounts are available for the cameras and why you're talking about it. I'll try to pull that up.
Yeah, no problem. So there's one major mount. It's called the universal mount. The universal mount will allow you to take any of the cameras, fisheye, Tactacam, Solo, all of them, and it'll allow you to mount to every single GoPro mount in the world, right? And there was a reason we did that. I mean, if you were to think of a POV camera, what's the first name that comes to mind, right? It's probably not Tactacam. It's probably GoPro, to be honest with you. So, and they have so many mounts, and a lot of us already have them. So that was the very first mount that we built to kind of get us into the, to a whole bunch of different spots. Now, I know that these other mounts aren't on here yet, but they're coming, and they're probably coming within the next couple of weeks. But before I get to those, like suspense, right? Tell us what they are. So we've got FTS mount. That's a mount right to your scope, and the Tactacam would mount to the other side, and it films through your scope while you're looking through your scope. So
that's cool.
Yeah, not to make it confusing, but you use your scope the way you normally would, but you're recording what you see. Nice. So, yeah, then you got the Picatinny rail. That would be for like your ARs, or if you have, like a crossbow, a lot of times they have Picatinny rails. It's a good one for that. Then all of a sudden we ran into, a lot of these crossbows got so dang short. So that's where the Underscope mount came in. This can mount directly underneath your scope, mounts to the rail, the camera gets kicked out to the side. Then you got your barrel mount, which is, shotguns. You can mount it on top of a scope. You can mount it onto your stabilizer. You can mount it, onto a fishing rod if you really wanted to, but I think there's better ways of doing it. Then you got your head mount, which I think works pretty well for fishing. We have a new mount coming out. It's a shoulder mount. I'll skip those for right now. The shoulder mount, it's really nice. We've been using it for the last probably year, and we just, we've really wanted to make sure if we did other mounts, like, is there a true reason for it other than just to have a mount, right?
Sure.
You can jump on Amazon and buy stuff so inexpensive nowadays. The goal isn't to just go make stuff and brand it Tactacam. It's how do we truly make things that really work, like it makes sense. And what we found was, yes, you can find shoulder mounts, but a lot of them weren't really that good. They were super flimsy. You just couldn't aim the camera where you wanted. So I don't have one of those here either. Sorry. But it's got like a plate, a really nice plate that goes right on your shoulder, straps onto you, and then it's fully adjustable. So you can point the camera anywhere you want and really get it dialed in, and it's easy to cast. It's easy to move around, or if you're rowing, paddling, anything, it's a really nice mount. So we did that.
See, that shoulder mount has me really interested for upland hunting.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Yeah,
because it's a really. I mean, I've wanted to do a good shoulder mount for a while, because I think that point of view, looking past a shotgun barrel and seeing the dog, if it has a wide enough lens and the bird fly, now we got something going.
Oh, for sure. And that's where that wide originally came from, was from the upland hunting and, the pheasant hunting and all of that stuff. Duck hunt. I mean, it was just, how do you get a good video that tells the rest of the story? Because there's one thing to see birds flying and getting shot and falling out of the sky or whatever it is, but it's like you're missing a part of the story. You have to see the rest of it that really, puts you there. So that's where the wide came, and then obviously then the fisheye came. So like the fisheye and or the wide would be the perfect cameras for doing something like that.
Does the wide have the back record feature? I'm not sure exactly what you called it.
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. The fisheye is the only one that has that currently.
Because when you're walking miles, I walked 9 miles today almost chasing grouse for not very many flushes, because I was pretty much in southern Wisconsin. But I don't want 6 hours worth of footage of just walking through the woods. So I think that fisheye might be a great solution though for upland hunting, especially with this new shoulder mount you're talking about.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, that's actually one of the features that we would love to build into a future camera, is for hunting, because even, let's just be honest, even though we came up with this stuff for fishing, then all of a sudden we're like, whoa, like we need to build this into our current cameras because this works really good for this.
Sure.
Or whatever. And, and eventually we will. We've got, I'll just be honest with you guys. Like, we're super busy. Like, it's great. Like, in a time, like where we're living right now with all this crazy stuff going on, like, I'm glad that there's a lot of very passionate people that still want to spend time outdoors, right?
Yeah.
And we've been very, very busy. We came out with the Tacticam Reveal this year, which has been a hit. I mean, we can't even keep those things on the shelves. It's just been crazy. So, between Fisheye, between the Tactacams, and we got the Spotter LR, which is a product I don't even know if we talked about. Yeah, nope. There's the Spotter LR as well. That films through your spotting scope for long range shooting, which, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I love getting out on the range and just, stacking bullets. This thing will pick up your trace if you're shooting in the right conditions. It's so cool. And then watching the videos back, it's pretty awesome. And then the Reveal, for that scouting and hunting. Yeah, just totally awesome. But we have been working extremely hard on coming up with the products that we have these ideas for. And we're like, hey, we want to change the game here. Like, yeah, okay, there's a lot of trail cameras out there, right? Yeah, I'm not going to argue with you. There's a ton of them. What are the things we don't like about the trail cameras? Well, we don't like the price. So we tried to build this as cheap as possible. Well, when you get cheap, then you lose quality. Well, guess what? We don't want to lose quality. So we want to build the cheapest camera, and we want to try to be the best camera available. I know that there's a lot of people that will say, well, Spartan's the best. They're $500 or $400. Yeah, they're an awesome camera. But we're building a camera for $120. And I would argue that I'm very, very happy with what I'm getting, and that's our goal with that product, is just building something that, it's just like a bunch of other stuff, but we're building it the way that we would want it, which is we want lower cost and we want better quality. So
that's sweet. Does that got a cellular connection too?
Mm-hmm. It does, yeah. So you would hook it up through our app. It's the Reveal app, and it will work off of Verizon or AT&T. You basically just select what service you would want. Doesn't matter if you have like a US Cellular or a T-Mobile on your mobile phone. It works off of its own data. So, and then just takes pictures and sends them to your phone, which I keep getting photos right now. And I keep glancing over and I want to look because it's addicting.
It is. Like, I know what you're talking about.
Like right now, I don't know if you can see this, but that buck is just hanging out right there. That's in Louisiana at a buddy of my, I got a buddy down there, and he's there. They have baiting stations. So I just set up a bunch of cameras when I was there last and just left them there because it's so fun to watch. Like, look at that one. That thing's a stud.
He's big.
Yeah.
That's a shooter.
So with the pictures, can you set it to take like, 2 right after one another, or, is there?
You can.
Is there any limitations that you're only limited to 2, or?
So you can only send 1 photo at a time, but you can, you can have it take like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And, like, just like any product, you build something and you're like, this is the coolest thing. Like, I love this. This is exactly how we want it. And then you're like, we did that wrong. Right. Mm-hmm. Like, that's the one thing that we're going to change very, very quickly. But there's a lot of things that have to happen in order to just like make a change. Right. But right now we send the second photo of a burst, if you have it set to a burst. Mm-hmm. So we send the second photo, but we'll actually be changing that where you would be able to select, like, I want the first or the second or the third, or just send me all of them. Right. Mm-hmm. That's really what we want. But there was a lot of things that, that why we went with it the way we did. A lot of it has to do with like security and cellular data and like restrictions, but we're figuring out some ways around that will make that a lot better. But overall, I mean, you can get a picture every 30 seconds all the way up to a minute, sometimes a little longer, depending on your cellular connection. Mm-hmm. Or you could set it up to take photos pretty much as fast as you can and then batch process them up, either 12 or 24 hours later.
And so, do you have like a free plan? And then I know you guys have like a paid plan too, starting at $5.
Yeah, unfortunately we don't have a free plan. And I know other people do, but to be honest with you, the reason we don't have a free plan is because that's the only place we make any money. Like we build these cameras and sell them. Basically, it's at cost. Like we don't make money on it, which is a really horrible business plan. But when you believe in something, you believe in something and you feel like, hey, you know what? We're going to do this. We believe in it. Yeah, we might go out of business. No, we're not going to. Trust me. People love it. And it's like, if you want $5 to use this, and if you don't want to pay the $5, you can use it for free. But we believe that you're going to like it so much that you're going to want to pay that. And that's the only place we're ever going to make any money. But it's because we believe in the product.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good thing,
Sure.
Yeah. It's nice to have that cellular connection rather than, having to go stomp through your hunting woods to swap out SD cards. That was always a pain oh, now I got to run over to, where I'm hunting and run down, swap out cards, go back to the truck, either have a camera or go back home to look at it, review the photos. I mean, Brad knows how that goes.
Oh, I do.
Yeah.
Whereas I've seen Jay just like you're doing. I want to look at my phone because I just got 6 trail cam pictures and I haven't seen any deer lately. So is there still deer? Or is it just coyotes or is it raccoons or whatever,
Every time I go to the woods, it's like Christmas morning because you never know what you're going to get on SD cards.
This is true.
I wake up in the middle of the night and, I roll over and I pick up my phone and I start looking at the trail cam pictures that are going on right now. And, it's just like, it's truly addicting. I love it. And I'm pretty new as far as, like cell cam user, right? Like I started using other brands, maybe 2 years ago. But I've used I've used trail cameras since 35 millimeter. And I know that that's not as long as some people that were using like the little trip cameras and string, like all that stuff. But I've been using them for quite a long time. And I don't know, there was things that we just didn't like about it. Like it's different than a normal trail camera because normal trail cameras, they just take pictures and you just go grab your SD card and you're like, I got 3,000 photos and or you got 8,000, whatever it is. And you're just looking through them. Like cellular is different because you have to take a picture and send it, or you got to take a picture, store it. But at a certain point, you have to send it. And when you're sending, you have to shut off the connection, in order to process everything up. Right. So, it's just a little bit of a different thing. You're getting photos like fastest I've seen them is like 25 seconds roughly.
So we got another good question, and I think what Christopher is trying to say here is there an app or something that could connect to the fisheye so you can see what is actually recording while you fish?
You can, yes, and very good question. So we have the Fisheye app, which let me show you, which is the little white one. I don't know if it won't show up very well. There it is. See the Fisheye app?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. So the Fisheye app is a pretty cool app. Not only does it allow you to, preview where your camera's aimed, and I will use it every time I set up cameras. If I'm in a kayak or like Jeremiah said, I looked pretty. He just texted me, and so like whenever I'm getting things set up on a kayak or a boat or whatever it is, I'll usually connect the cameras to the app. And I'll get them framed up. I'll be able to see where they're pointed, making sure that if I'm standing up, I'm not, cropping off my beautiful mug. Just kidding, but I just, you just want to make sure you get things framed up the way you want them. I mean, what's the point, right?
Sure.
So I'll do that. And then you can also adjust all your settings of the camera, make, you can control the entire camera from the app. Then there's also some really cool things that the app can also do after you're done fishing. You can download the video footage to the app, right? You can go through it and select the ones that you've tagged because of the backwards record. You can download those to your phone. Once you have them downloaded, you can then actually trim them up, make them shorter, combine a couple videos together, export them, upload them to Facebook, YouTube, wherever you want to do it. I mean, wherever you want to share it, which is pretty cool. I think it started as a kind of like, what would I want to do other than just film, right? Like, how do we continue to evolve this whole theory of, if we're sharing our hunt, which is the trade, like from way back when we started, like sharing your experience, whatever it is, we need to start to also make it easy to do that. And not a lot of people have video editing skills, right?
Sure.
Like, what's Final Cut Pro or what's Premiere? Yeah. Like, what are all of these? I don't want to spend $300 on an editing system. Are you crazy? So that's what people are thinking. I know they are. So it's like, how do we build that into our app and make it as easy as possible, where it's not overcomplicated? And we still are working on it. I'm not going to say like, oh my gosh, you got to try this out. This is the best thing ever, but you can do it. And I think it's pretty easy, but there's still things that I think we can do to make it even better, and that's where we're putting a bunch of energy in right now.
Well, I think that says something, like for you guys as a whole, as a company, it's not 100% perfect, but you're working on it. You're keeping it going and progressing forward, making it continually better. Chris asked, will the app work on Windows 10 since it's compatible with Android?
That's a good question because I don't have a Windows computer, so you should try that and send us a message. You can download it. You can actually download it right now. Friend. Yeah, it should work on any Android platform, but I'll just be honest. I have not tried that, so I typically I'm an iPhone guy. We do all our development on iPhone, but everything transfers over to Android, and we test it with, Android phones, tablets as well. We also do, like iPads. But as far as the computers that run on the I guess I've not used that. I would assume it would work just fine.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Well,
so with your cameras, with the app on iFish, can you go live? Like, say I'm trolling for salmon on Lake Michigan, which I'll admit I only do like once or twice every few years. But if I'm hooked up and I got a fish screaming, can I go live?
You can't. No. Okay. I know it's very disappointing, but we explored that for a very long time. And when I say a very long time, it was like 3 years, and finally we got it working, by the way. Like, it's doable. You can do it, but here was the issue. And I know this is on Facebook, and now you're going to get flagged, but so I won't talk about it. But certain private companies don't like things getting shot, for example, right? So, we're Tactacam. We build a hunting camera. They mount to guns. It doesn't matter if you're fishing or not. It's still associated. So unfortunately, we don't get to live stream. We can make it live stream, and then about a couple weeks later, all of a sudden it magically doesn't work anymore.
Got it.
And then we got to make it work again. And then, oh, look at that. It doesn't work anymore. So
understood.
That's kind of that's what happens.
Gotta love politics.
Yeah. You also have to find those new platforms are starting to pop up a lot more. So I think, with like Parler and Rumble and all, they're very hunter friendly. I think, those are going to be the new platforms that are going to shine, because everybody's getting tired of YouTube and everything anyway. So all the restrictions, it's like people just want to show what they, what's wrong with hunting? I mean, it's been going on for eons.
Yeah, and I don't think it's so much the hunting that's the issue. I think it has a lot to do with just, more guns and the violence that we've seen in the past. And, I think that's probably more where it comes from, but
for sure.
Still unfortunate.
But you can live stream a video game though, because that's not violent.
Nope.
Nope.
Right.
Or a riot.
Right?
Tacticam, Tacticam Kyoto riots, dude. I'm sure that'll be fine.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting on track.
It's like just
Here we go.
Just for fun, I'm gonna go Grand Theft Auto. You can do all that stuff, right? But you can't go hunting and live stream it. Well, you can, but it's like you can do it from your phone, and I don't know what the difference is. I think it's truly because of like the brand and the marketing and like what we promote. I think it has more to do with that than anything.
Well, I know we're getting close here, man, but how about I know you guys are coming out with some new lenses that retrofit on the cameras. Is that correct?
Oh, are we talking about these?
Yeah. He was prepared, man.
How did I actually have these here? I mean, they're still in the wrapper. Look at this. They're all wrapped up real nice. I think I'm going to open these up.
I like it.
Oh, man. It's really sealed up really good.
Well, Tacticam does well with their packaging. Make sure
this is actually the very first. This is the first finished product. So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
he's got the Swiss Army teeth out.
Yeah,
I know, right? I was struggling. I'm like, I'm just gonna do it. So this is the first time I've actually opened this up. I saved it for you guys.
I appreciate
but
that.
It's gonna have an ultra wide and a mini zoom. So what's the difference? Well, one's ultra wide and one's a mini zoom. Real easy, right? It says it on the package. But what it does is it attaches to the front of the fisheye. And, as we all know, when you're fishing, sometimes there's just certain things. Like if you're on a kayak, you probably want an ultra wide. Now, the lens that comes with the camera is pretty dang wide. It works really well. You can ask Jeremiah because I know he's watching. So Jeremiah, send a message in. Tell us how the camera works on a kayak because I know you use it all the time. So, and he's also used these lenses because he helped do the testing. So it'll be fun to hear what he says.
It's his new name,
Yep.
Guinea Pig.
Yeah. So, like I told you guys before the show started, Jeremiah and I were on the track team together back at UW La Crosse. So that's how I know him, and he works for the city of La Crosse doing like outdoor events and promos. But he's a really big fisherman, loves kayak fishing and a bunch of other stuff. He's really good. Whenever I want to catch fish, I usually go with him. Oh, look at that. There he goes. It works on a kayak, Ben. Thanks, Jeremiah. All right, here we go. Check it out. Bam. Look at that.
So that just slides over the front, or does it screw on, or
it screws on. Yep. Screws on. So you basically take this lens and you can see the threads. Oop. There's my camera. See the threads there?
Nice. Yeah.
So this just screws right onto the front of the camera, and it changes the angle of the lens. So the way we built the camera, and we got patents on this, by the way, really cool. I don't know how we got them because I was like, interchangeable lenses, really? But we did. We built the lens for basically like an infinite focus, and it's easy with the wider angle lens because, as you know, you get a lot more depth of field. But when you attach this, it actually we can truly like go even wider and keep our focus, or we can narrow that beam down for a zoom. So it works really, really smooth. It's pretty cool. And yeah, there's a little diagram on the back.
Nice.
Kind of gives you an idea, but pretty neat.
What's that kit gonna run offhand?
Oh, geez, don't ask me tough questions.
All right.
I just know how to come up with cool ideas. Work with even smarter people to make sure things get built the way they're supposed to and work. And now, I mean, I actually, it's not going to be expensive. I can't remember the exact price, and I don't want to say it because I don't want to be wrong, but it's not going to be crazy. I mean, we built them to be affordable, like as something that people are like, you know what, I'm going to get those and use them, so.
Fisheye combo lens pack. It's on the website. It's $39.99.
There you go. See, I didn't lie. That's not expensive, is it? It's pretty affordable.
Not at all.
And they're real glass. They're real glass. So if you can't tell, I'm a total camera nerd. Like, I want real glass. I want high quality. That's the mini zoom. And then here's the wide angle. Don't worry about my fingers, but look at that wide angle. That's a nice piece of glass.
So if you were going to have one camera, I was going to have, like me, I don't know. I don't own a good action camera right now. I've never really got too much into the filming thing just yet, but there's an interest for me. So with the iFish Pro with that mini zoom, would that be sufficient enough for 20 yards with a bow?
It's going to work. It definitely is going to work. There's a reason why, we have that $199 price point, right? Because I think it's affordable. Like if I want to get into this, I feel like, hey, this is, I can do that. The fisheye is absolutely better for fishing. I'm not going to lie to you. But if you're a big fisherman and you also do some hunting and you just want to try it, the mini zoom is definitely going to help, right? But the solo Wi-Fi is going to be better at it,
right?
If that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely. But I mean, for me, deer hunting's a very small piece of what I do. Like, I'm a big upland hunter, and having that record back feature on that iFish actually seems more important to me. That feature is going to work excellent for upland hunting because it's just miles of walked for what I do. So even if I walk in on an excellent, solid dog point, it's only a minute, maybe a minute and a half of video I want to save at most.
Right. So in your case, I would say I would buy a fisheye. I would buy the lens pack for sure. Because that's going to allow me to customize it a little bit. Because the fisheye, it doesn't have like the zoom capability as like a 5.0, for example. It's truly because of the way that in order to build it for a certain price and make it so, like, hey, you know what? I want to try this. And I want to use this. And it's truly really high quality. Like, when you guys, do you have them yet? If you don't, you will. Or did I ruin the surprise? But
no.
And anyway, they're really high quality. Like, I don't know. Anyway, I'm rambling. But yes, I would buy a fisheye, I would buy the lens pack, and I would probably buy 1 or 2 extra batteries, because then you could go hunting all day, and in 3 hours in, it's like, oh man, I haven't shot nothing. Swap the battery out and keep going. And guess what? It's got SD card loop. So after you fill the SD card out, you don't even need to do anything. It's just going to write over all the bad videos that you don't even want.
Sure.
And then if you would have randomly shot something, because I know that you're going to have that 2 minutes of fame, right?
Right.
And it happened, and you push the button and it's going to save it for you. And then you decide to go hunting the rest of the day and tomorrow, and you're like, dang it, I forgot to get that video off. Because you saved it, it marked it, and it's not going to override it. So it'll override all the other stuff and jump over that one and keep going.
Nice.
So
you got Leanne in the chat. She said, what is the secret discount code for tonight?
Oh, geez, I wish I had one. I honestly don't have one. That's a good question. I wish I would have prepared for that. I mean, I didn't bring anything other than the fisheye lens. And
you failed Leanne, Ben. You failed Leanne.
I'll have to hear about the first time I'm out ice fishing with her too. She's going to bring it up, guaranteed.
Right?
No,
see, look at that. I got another photo. I get every time. I'm just like, oh, what's that? It's like candy. But no, I mean, obviously, just to wrap it all up, and I know we went, longer than the hour that you guys normally go, but it's like, super, super passionate. Every single one of us. I mean, all the way to our customer support. Like, it's amazing. Like, it's truly amazing to see this company continue to grow and evolve, because every single person is so much a part of it. Like, if you call and talk to anybody and ask them a question, not only do they use the products, but they're working a full day. And guess what they do when they're at home? They treat it like they're one of the owners, and they're still working on it. It's amazing to me. Yeah, it's truly amazing.
Heck yeah, man.
So
if people want to find the Tactacam, man, where should they go?
So to be able to buy this stuff, you mean?
Yep.
I'm just kidding. Tactacam.com is a great place to start. We do offer quite a bit of things, off our website, but you can also go to retail stores. I mean, we have a retail locator right on our website as well. So we try to sell, to as many retailers as possible. But I mean, as far as the big ones, I have a Cabela's Bass Pro magazine sitting in front of me, and I was looking through it and I'm like, oh, look at that. But yeah, we're in there. We're in, I guess quite a few places. But just call around is what I typically will say. And if you don't feel like calling around, go to our website, do the dealer locator, or just order it off, offline. But we always try to support our dealers because they're a huge part of it, so.
Leanne said Emily in customer service was awesome with my reveal. Don't ever lose that local service.
Oh no, she's amazing. Like, I was actually going to say her name earlier, but then I didn't want to discriminate because everybody is truly rock stars. But yeah, she is probably answering customer service right now. And
that's awesome.
She put a full day in today, and it's 9:07, and she's got a 15-year-old daughter, and she just started hunting this year. Went and bought camo, went bow hunting, and she's never hunted before in her life, and took the job because she's like, I need a job. And all of a sudden she's like, this is amazing. Like, I love this, and got passionate about it, and truly can't get enough of not only helping people that are also passionate about like what they're doing with their products, but then is also now getting involved in doing that. So pretty awesome.
Man. Very cool, brother. Well, we appreciate you taking the time tonight, my friend. And, if you guys are interested, like you said, go to tactacam.com, check them out. We'll put some links up in our show post for this. And, we got one last question. Christopher Dotson asked, would it work for paintballing?
Absolutely. You do have to be a little cautious with the paintball coming at you. The only thing I'm just going to be, it's just honest, right? We've seen a lot of paintball stuff. It's so cool, but I have seen some of the front lenses get broke out, on occasion. So
sure.
Just the only thing I've ever seen, but we can replace the front of the lenses. It's pretty easy. Like, it's a cap that, anyway, yeah, nice. It works really, really well. But with paintball, that's the only thing that I've ever seen happen as far as that goes. But awesome footage.
Very cool. Very cool. Ben Stern, everybody. Thank you very much. And we'll catch you guys next week. Next week, right? The rest of the podcast is going on a break. We'll be live next week. We're going to talk to the guys at Galuside and continue our hunting episode series. So be sure to tune in next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Central. Till next time, tight lines, smooth paddling. Peace.